Good afternoon, CFM. This is Coach Matt on a Tuesday. We're going to do some rowing technique work that will also double as our skill for today, that will also double as our cardio warm-up. So I'm going to address a couple of the rowing technique items that we see that apply broadly, either when you get fatigued or if you've never been instructed or picked on by me or Coach Audrey, who is our rowing technique expert around here. So we're going to go through 4 150-meter increments on the rower, and some of them will use different body parts. Some of them will use the whole row stroke, and some of them will be slower, some of them will be faster, right? So the way we're going to start off is arms only rowing, and then we're going to do legs only rowing, and then we're going to do the whole stroke. Okay, so arms only, and when we think of the progression of the rower handle from as close as it can get to the flywheel until we're all the way extended, right? There are 3 general components of the body or systems in the body that will work, right? So it's legs working, and then it is the torso or the back working, and then it is the arms working. And when we row, we want to think in general terms of legs, then back, then arms on the way out, or the pull away from the flywheel, and then on the way back, or the recovery, it is arms, and then back, and then legs. I'm saying back, and what I really mean is your hips, but your back is what is changing in angle, all right? So arms only rowing for 150 meters is gonna look like this. I say lean forward, so shoulders slightly forward of the hips, arms are straight. I'm going to lean backward by flexing my glutes and my hamstrings. So I'm using my hamstrings kind of like a Romanian deadlift to pull myself backward and then pull that handle all the way to my chest. The contact point should be somewhere around my sternum, not at my chin, not at my belly button, but like right in the middle, neutral grip and neutral arm position when I pull back to my sternum. And then arms out, slight lean forward. Like so, all right? When you get to 150, then what we're gonna do is keep the arms straight, and we're gonna do the legs only, right? Legs only. So at the front here, this is the #1 fault that we see across many members in the gym, is that at the recovery or the catch position is where the rower handle changes directions. It's where it's gone all the way forward as far as it's gonna go, and now it's coming back, right? In this position, we want the shoulders to be slightly closer to the flywheel versus my hips. I do not want to be leaned back with my hips behind my shoulder, my hips in front of my shoulders here. All right, so what happens here is, notice that my hamstrings are as short as they can possibly get, meaning they have almost no ability to engage in this movement, and that means that I'm pulling all with my actual back and with my quads and with my arms, right? This feels like a better position because it's a little bit more relaxed, right? But imagine doing a deadlift where your butt touches your heels every time you go down to the bottom, right? It's not a very efficient movement, right? And it does not use the larger, more powerful muscles in the hamstrings and the glutes to the extent that they could be used, right? So what we're gonna do is reach forward, try to get the handle as close as you can to the flywheel without compromising the neutral braced spine, right? But I want you to try to keep your heels flat on the pads here, and try to get your shins as close to vertical as possible. You may not be able to get there, I can't quite get there, but that's where I wanna be. So I wanna feel tension in my hamstrings, tension in my anterior tibialis, right, where my ankle is kind of dorsiflected, or toes as close to my shins as I can get them. And then I'm gonna drive out with my legs. When my legs have finished the extension, then I slightly lean back to that like 1:30 or 2 o'clock position at the back of the row stroke, but my elbows never bend, right? Then lean forward, bend those knees, and drive out again, right? And the movement here, it should feel kind of like a clean pull, if you've ever done that, where we do a large hip extension with a bar in our hands, like we're gonna do a power clean, and you should feel the weight or the momentum shrugging your shoulders backward at the back of the stroke, all right? On the third 150, we're gonna do the full stroke while we're just trying to put it together. So this is gonna be a little bit less of an aggressive pace. We're just going for the sequence, right? Legs back, arms back, legs. Notice that on the recovery, the handle goes past my knees before my knees bend, all right? If you need to slow it way down and think about that, totally the right time to do it, okay? The combination of faults of knees bending first and then the handle going up and over my knees largely correlates to that saddle going in front of my shoulders at the front of, or at the catch position of the row, all right? So that's what we wanna do, legs back, arms, arms back, legs. The final 150 is just crank it up a little bit, right? Put a little more intensity into it, try to get some speed while you're maintaining that good row strokes, okay? And that's gonna lead us right into some speed work. When we finish the row, that's like our little cardio warm up. I have a little bit of just body calisthenics and general stretches that I wanna do. Spider-Man plus a leg swing, air squats with a T-spine rotation, and seal press to down dog. All right, so Spider-Man, reach down, right? And then when you touch that elbow to the floor, like I'm demonstrating right here, that's a joke, people, that's a joke, I can't do it, right? You try to do it. All right, come up, touch the toe, and then back to reaching that elbow for the floor. It's just a stretch. All right, next one, air squat. So do that air squat and then plant that hand, twist, twist, and then back up. Squat again, twist, twist, and then the last one is seal. Stretch out the low back, stretch out the abdominals, and then down dog. All right, cycle between those three exercises a couple times. Just get nice and limber, loosen up the hips, and then we're gonna go into our speed work. So 3 500-meter rows, I'm not calling them sprints, but if you know what your max effort 500 is, then I want you to be within like 5-6 seconds of that, which is a pretty fast pace. So if you can do a 124 or a 127, be in the like low 130s, right? That'd be a great sequence of them today. We're doing 3 of them, and I want you to rest as much as you need to rest in order to feel recovered, and try to keep your times relatively consistent. However, it is okay if you decay a little bit on your time. So if you did your first one at 145 and your second one is 146, 147, and you're doing a really hard effort, that was what I would call a perfect training experience, right? If you get faster on your second one, then it probably means you did not go hard enough on your first one, right? So that is just an effort level thing. It could also be just unfamiliarity with the duration and the distance and the movement, okay? So if you're relatively newer to rowing and you beat your second one, or you beat your first one on your second one, and you beat your second one on your third one, I'm okay with that. If you've been doing this for a while and you're negative splitting these, then it's just an effort thing, right? And you gotta go faster in order to get something out of it. That's it, right? However, totally up to you, right? If you wanna come in and do 500 meters at an easy pace and then say, I didn't get anything out of it, I'm gonna say like, well, the rower's right there, right? It is the same no matter who you are, right? It's your choice of how fast you spin that flywheel and how much you get out of it, right? So that part's on you. The next part is some conditioning, right? The conditioning for today is, this is single leg core and accessory stuff. This can be done at a moderate pace. It can be done at a more aggressive pace if you would like it to be. However, the balance part of it needs to be relatively slow, right? So this part, the challenge is going to be holding the position while the balance point changes on your body, right? So we're gonna be in the single leg deadlift position, and we're gonna do these shoulder passes, right? So I've got one dumbbell, and I'm gonna go arms out like a T, and then switch hands, and then arms out like a T, and switch hands, and I'm just going back and forth like that. And so I've completed all of the reps, and then switch legs and do it again on the other side, right? And if you feel like you're gonna fall in one direction, use the weight to counterbalance you, right? So if I'm falling to the right, maybe I'll push the weight out to the left a little bit in order to get that balance back. Okay, the back leg, right? When I'm in this single leg deadlift position, this leg needs to be rigid, right? It needs to be tight. I'm pushing it back, my knee is straight. I'm not relaxed on this leg and kind of droopy right there, because that triggers my low back also to be droopy, right? And not in a good braced position. Next one is push to move, right? So push to move is just a single leg lateral jump, right? So I'm gonna start off in my athletic stance, and then I'm gonna push with the back leg and drive out with the front leg. And when I do it, my leg and arms go opposite directions. So this leg, the trailing leg, is pushing out while the trailing arm is pushing forward, right? Push to move, and then going the opposite direction is exactly that, the opposite, right? Push to move, push to move, push to move, okay? So that's all we're doing on that one. 8 on each leg of a single leg hop, and this will be forward or linear, right? So on this one, I'm using my non-driving leg to cycle. I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You don't have to jump over a row if you don't want to, right? Medicine ball to toes is exactly that. V sit up with a medicine ball. Try to make your hands and your feet come together and then spread apart, right? So my feet are moving a significant distance when I do this one. Vertical pillar Captain Morgan. So the vertical pillar Captain Morgan just means I want my elbow, shoulder, opposite shoulder, and other arm to all be in one line when I do the Captain Morgan, right? Top leg is on in front, and I'm just marching in place, right? Holding that hand to the sky, and ideally that's keeping me from rotating towards the ground and changing the demand of the movement. And then finish with a little blip on the bike, right? 25 calories for the guys, 20 for the ladies, and that can be just do it, or it can be do it, right? Your choice, and that's kind of where you'll make the decision of, is this conditioning for me, or is this just accessory? And honestly, either one is fine, right? If you ask me what I want out of today, it is some improvement on the rowing technique, and then it is some speed work on the rowing where you give a good legit effort on 3 500-meter rows that are not quite sprints, right? If we said sprints, then I would have you only doing 1 as a time trial, right? But we're doing 3 of them today. So this is a little bit higher than base building, but a little bit lower than full anaerobic effort, okay? And that's it for today, all right? Have a great one. See you guys on Wednesday.